ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Baldfc. It's match day 27, so I got exciting week of soccer for you guys. This was the match day of the late goals. As you could hopefully understand from that little skit at the beginning there, a lot of the excitement from this week came later in the games. There was some first half action, don't worry. So let's look at some scores from this week, all right? First game was a 3-1 win over Everton for West Ham. Everton actually missed a pretty early penalty. Beto was allowed to take the penalty, and I think he hit the bottom right post. He earned the start over Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which I agree, he deserves the start. He did get a late goal, but 3 goals from West Ham win the game, including Edson Alvarez, Mexican center defensive midfielder. He earned his first goal of the Premier League with a nice little dink over the keeper. City 2, Brentford 2. Pretty disappointing game for me, but from the neutral point of view, this was an awesome game. Lots of action, some beautiful goals, specifically Wissa's goal from Brentford. Awesome bicycle kick. Super annoying that Chelsea couldn't capitalize. We had so many chances where we could have won that game, earned a good first half lead, but instead we just let Brentford just come into the game and just take us out. Fulham defeat Brighton 3-0. Goals from Muniz and Adama Traore. Newcastle put 3 past the Wolves. Liverpool wins a very, very late game. I think they scored in the 99th minute, 10 minutes of extra time to win the game, earn a very important 3 points as they do still lead the title race. Tottenham wins with a late flurry of goals after going behind pretty early from a free kick, a beautiful free kick I will say, from Eze. Timo Werner gets his first goal for Tottenham, and then another goal from Heung-min Son to win the game. Aston Villa beat Luton Town 3-2 in a pretty awesome thriller late match winner thanks to the left back Alex Moreno. Ollie Watkins scores 2 that game, making it 7 goals in 6 games for him. He's on 16 goals now, so he's second in the Golden Boot race, just 2 behind Erling Haaland. I mean, 1 good game for him and he could jump Erling Haaland, which is pretty crazy. I didn't think anyone would get this close to Haaland. In the possible game of the week, we had the Manchester Derby. The Manchester Derby ended 3-1. Manchester Derby ended 3-1 with a late brace from Phil Foden. Oh my God. All right, guys, those are the scores from the week. Let's get into big 3 points. So point number 1, I wanted to touch on Arsenal again. How can I not talk about them? They're in the best form that I've ever seen. Arsenal beat Sheffield United 6-0 on Monday, which was a pretty incredible performance from them. This marks 31 goals in 7 matches for Arsenal, and they're only here to stat pad this season, really. This pushes their goal differential to 45, 6 goals clear of Liverpool, who still remain over Arsenal by 2 points. But I thought this was a crazy stat. So Arsenal's on 45 goal differential. That's their goal differential at the end of last season. So currently they're on 68 goals and they've only let in 23. Last season they scored 88 goals and only let in 45. Only 23 goals away from meeting their goal tally from last season, which they can definitely do. And I think there's 11 games left this season, so they can definitely reach that. Goals against, their defense is so much more solid this season. So I think Arsenal is definitely one to keep an eye on. Of course, City and Liverpool have silverware experience. You know, they've won the Premier League recently. They've won major trophies recently. We'll see if Arsenal can survive the long haul. Point number 2, the Derby. I got to talk about the Manchester Derby. Man City versus Man United. City win a dominant display after a pretty shaky start. If you guys haven't seen it, Marcus Rashford opened the scoring from that game with a crazy rocket. It hit the left post, went bar down. A beautiful finish from him. I'd say that was one of his lone moments of the game. I think after that, he kind of fell off. City eventually would find their way back into the game thanks to Phil Foden, who put in 2 goals. And eventually Erling Haaland did put one away with a nice classy finish to the bottom left corner. I did need to mention that Erling Haaland has looked really shaky recently. If you watch the game, he did miss a couple really close chances that, you know, usually Haaland would finish with his eyes closed. So it's just interesting to see that, you know, he is going through a rough patch right now, but he's still scoring. Point number 3, Luton Town lovers, guys, I need to show some love to Luton Town because every time I watch this club, I love them a little bit more. I think this club deserves to stay up this year. How can they survive the drop? They got to stick to their style of play. They have a great team who can threaten even the best teams, as we saw in Aston Villa versus Luton. Luton outshot Aston Villa. Luton do have a potent attack. They just got to figure out how to get it started at the beginning of the game. They did miss 2 big chances. Could have earned them the 3 points. I got to shout out a couple of their really important players from this season. Of course, I've shown a lot of love to Elijah Adebayo this year. I think he's on 9 goals this season, but he actually didn't even play this game versus Aston Villa. Carlton Morris has earned his spot, and he's on 8 goals this season. So they have 2 pretty strong attackers, but I also want to show some love to Alfie Doughty, the midfielder. They make Luton so much more dangerous off of set pieces. If you have watched that game, Carlton Morris scored off a set piece. 2 more chances that they could have won this game came from set pieces. So I think Luton really need to focus on set pieces if they want to earn some points this year. 4 points behind Nottingham Forest, and they do have a game in hand. So if they win that game in hand, they're only 1 point behind. There's still some time this season to earn their safety in the Premier League, and I really would love to see them come back another year. Awards from this week. Game of the week is going to be the Manchester Derby. Super fun. Player of the week, I think I'm going to give it to another Player of the Week performance for Phil Foden. 2 goals to give City the win over United. Super important 3 points in the title race. Breaking it into FPL, strong form continues, guys. I'm flying right now. I don't know what's happening. I'm on 85 points this week. I had 6 for Willian Saliba, who, I forgot to mention, had more passes than Sheffield United. The center back, Willian Saliba, had 164 passes, I believe, and Sheffield United as a whole only had 150. Just a crazy stat. So he had 6. Ben White had 13. He did earn a late goal in that Arsenal game. Cole Palmer with 5. Gordon with 8. Saka earned me 7 points. Captain Holland this week with 12 with that late goal. And then Ollie Watkins with 2 goals only earns 13 points. That's very interesting. I don't know exactly how they do points for FPL. Notable transfers. I transferred out Mateus Cunha and Phil Foden. I know that's a weird pick, but I did it anyways. That's just because Man City is going up against Liverpool next week, so I don't think there's going to be a huge opportunity to earn points for him, but you never know. He could still have a breakout game. But I've brought in Jared Bowen and Carlton Morris, Luton hero. We'll see what he can do for the rest of the season. But y'all, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.